elected to do a job. And I think that can be done in a bipartisan way. And I think the whole issue of the character piece in terms of how we can reach across the aisle and work together to accomplish some definite goals that I think the state needs to be able to move forward. I'm interested in that, and I think we as Democrats, if anything, do that better than anybody in terms of reaching across the aisle and working in a bipartisan fashion. That's critical to making this place operate. We all have ideas. We all represent individuals back home. We all have an agenda to accomplish. And so I think it's important that we get that give and take and that we listen to everybody. So based on that, the things that I think are doable in terms of the governor's speech, he had a lot in terms of the health care issue and making sure that we cover all Iowa kids. That's doable. And I think in terms of we're one of the states with the highest number of kids covered to date. And so it is going to take that much more for us to be able to accomplish that. So I think that's going to be a critical issue and one that is definitely doable. And I think everybody's interested in accomplishing that. So again, I think bipartisan, I think we can get that done. In terms of other issues, in terms of education, making sure that we make our commitments and continue with the commitments that we initially made last year. Early childhood education, teacher salaries, making college affordable, his Iowa Scholars Program, all of those kinds of things. I think you're going to see a continued commitment to, because I think that, again, is something all Iowans embrace and believe is really critical for students and kids to move forward. So I think that accessibility to education is a critical piece, and I think, again, we can find common ground on that. In terms of things that are going to be tougher, obviously the bottle bill and increasing the deposits on cans and bottles, it's something that's going to be an uphill battle, but I think it's doable. And it means educating people, explaining why it's so critical that we expand, and also why it's so critical to increase the dollar amount. Number one, not only to finance REAP and those educational programs that deal with the environment, but also to help those handlers who have been in a terrible spot in terms of being able to make that a profitable venture for them. So I think those are things that I think are doable. The combined reporting, that just makes sense to me. I'm sorry, but I think all Iowans would agree that corporations are not who we're about in terms of trying to benefit them. They should be paying their fair share. And if 20 other states have done it, that to me makes a lot of sense in terms of us doing that as well. So that, again, I know is going to be an uphill battle, but I think it's one, again, the majority of Iowans would support. And so those are the kinds of things that I'm looking at as well. The local option for tobacco ordinances and whatnot, that one I think is going to be definitely done. I would prefer a statewide ban on smoking in public places. I know that may be a harder sell, but I do believe that local option and local control is a critical issue for so many Iowans in terms of that clean air. And that really deals with the workers who have to be in those environments and are obviously in situations where they don't have a whole lot of control over whether a business determines they're going to be smoke-free or not. And I think we need to protect workers. If we're looking at prevention, that's an issue that, to me, is critical, and again, something that I think we can do to help all workers in Iowa. So those are just some of the things that I listened to. I thought it was interesting that he talked about nurses and what we can do to create a special commission to look at increasing nurses' wages across the state. And I think, again, that is something that we should not ignore. 41st in the nation in terms of our workers' salaries, that needs to be addressed. Iowa has been traditionally a low-wage state. We've got to change that. We expect to keep these young people here. The Young Iowa Generation Commission told us point blank, salaries are an important part of that. So we need to start paying attention to what those young people are saying, or we'll lose another generation of young Iowans who are not going to stay here and put up with that. They can go elsewhere and make more. So those are some things that I think are going to be on the agenda and are definitely going to get our attention and certainly our commitment too.
Excellent.